done talking about Epstein. We'll have that and much, much more. The Paul Harrell program starts right now. Right now.
The Paul Harrell program.
All right, folks, welcome to the show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Rob Spencer is with us. Rob, how you doing today?
I am glad to be here, Paul. I'm, after a long weekend, spent some time out in the yard, so glad to be back at this. Lots of news to get cover, and, they want us to move on. They want us to just, hey, nothing to see here, folks. But unfortunately, we were sold a bill of goods, and we're not going to stop talking about it. There are some influencers, as you previously mentioned, Charlie Kirk, some others who are just saying, hey, folks, let's move on. I'm finished talking about this big nothing burger. But the problem is this. We knew that there was something. It wasn't a nothing burger for the longest time. And finally, they come out and say, well, now it's a nothing burger. Oh, bull. That's not what we're doing, folks. We want answers. We want accountability. If you tell me that the Biden administration had control of these files and, hey, folks, there's nothing we can do about it because we can only give you what we were given, that's fine. Come out and say that. But don't say, hey, he killed himself. There was no client list. Nothing to see here. Move on, even though that's not what you were told for years.
Yeah. I agree. It's it just kind of seems to be getting worse. So over the weekend at the Turning Point USA event, a lot of young people turned out. Sorry about that. We're on wrong camera. We had a lot of discussion, kind of this groundswell on Friday or Saturday of Pam Bondi. People were starting to blame Pam Bondi. We had these reports that Bongino and Pam Bondi got into a shouting match in the White House. Mm-hmm. Then we had reports that it was actually Bongino and Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, that it was really between them.
I've heard that both ways, that it was Susie Wiles who was telling Bongino, hey, quit attacking my friend Pam, because they both from Florida and all of that stuff. There's allegedly some connection there where maybe Susie has got Pam's back on it. So I've heard that, and then I've heard that it was Pam and Dan Bongino basically yelling it out here,
right?
And Bongino saying to the effect of, "You messed this up.
Yep.
You messed this up, and now you've got to fix this, or I'm gone." Other reports said, "Hey, it's her or me." Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what the case is there.
I know exactly. I can totally understand Dan Bongino being really upset about this because he went out. Him and Cash both went out and said, he didn't. I've seen the tape. I've seen the file. He didn't kill himself.
Yeah,
I'm trying to do my best Bongino impression there. And they took a lot of heat for that. They took a lot of flack for that. But one of the things he said was, we're going to release a video. Well, the video that they released is not conclusive, even though they say it's conclusive. But what's worse is then, and I think this is probably where he really lost it, the minute that's missing. There's a minute missing. And then when Pam Bondi was asked about it, and I'm just spitballing here, but if you go back to that video of with Trump saying, "Do you really want to answer this question, Pam? Who cares about Epstein?"
Right.
I think her answer of, well, it's in the 90s, so we're looking at it. It was a 90s piece. It was technology from the 90s, and I think that's probably what sent Bongino over the edge. Like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to be restoring credibility to the FBI, and we're not doing that.
Well, we're not doing it. We're not restoring the credibility, but even so much so that how much political capital, how much credibility have we lost in the lead up to this? Because everyone was like, the hammer's coming, and not just on this, on everything, right? All of the investigations, the phony allegations and investigations into Trump, all of the crap where pro-life preacher who is praying silently in front of an abortion clinic has his house raided by the FBI. We were told accountability is coming. Can you tell me how many arrests have been? I'm sorry if I'm getting fired up about this. Can you tell me how many people have been arrested? Yeah. How many people have been fired? Now, I know that there's a little bit of, what do you want to call it? damage control right now, where we were like, hey, we're firing some people here.
Yeah, the State Department,
Yeah.
the DOJ's letting 20 people.
Okay.
That's all great. The DOJ firing the people that had to do, with some of the J6 stuff and the Trump Mar-a-Lago raid. Like, that's all fantastic, and we can praise it. But it's now coming out, I think, because they just had their no good, really, really, really bad week. I will say this, though. To your point, there's also John Solomon over at Just the News is reporting, hey, look, we're about to have some serious accountability, for Brennan, for Comey. They're going to announce some sort of, grand jury that's going to go after this big conspiracy, that the Russia collusion host and frame Donald Trump for treason. All of that needs to happen, but here's the problem. All of that needs to happen, but here's the problem. People like me and others rightfully are going to ask this question: did they go far enough? Are they willing to go far enough? And this Epstein situation, if it's left unresolved, that's always going to be the question. Is the administration pulling their punches and letting some people walk because, I don't know, they're connected to MAGA donors, or they're connected to foreign intel services? We're trying to protect, countries from falling, potentially entire nations. Like, that's now always going to be on the table as they pursue accountability of James Comey and John Brennan and Clapper and the like. I think that's a big problem.
Well, I agree that it's a big problem. And let's just go with both sides of the coin here. You could argue that, well, hey, we're going to go after these individuals, and we're going to preach, we're going to bring that accountability that we've been preaching, right? And that's what's going to happen. We're going to take them down. And the other side of it is, this is all for show. This is all to, here's a little smoke from the magician, and that smoke is over here to distract us from what's happening over here. Okay, we don't know. We don't know, because so much credibility, so much political capital was buried in the fact that there's a new sheriff in town. Now, it's the same sheriff that was there 4 years ago, but he learned. These are not the people that you want to have. You don't want to have these career swamp creatures up in here advising this president, right? So he has surrounded himself with loyalists, Pam Bondi included. She liked the spotlight too much. I'm completely agreeing with Megyn Kelly on this. She liked the spotlight too much. She went out there. She was in front of her skis here, and she was like, she liked the Fox News hits, and she was all over the internet,
Yep.
right? She loved it. When has that ever happened from an attorney general?
Yep, 100%.
The only time we saw Merrick Garland out there was when he was holding a press conference announcing something, or he was in front of Congress answering for his crimes. Okay? That's the only time we see him.
And not really answering.
We didn't see a whole lot of tweet. I mean, Merrick Garland was tweeting some stuff, right? But it was official department stuff or whatever. It wasn't this, look at me, I'm so great, I'm the hammer.
Well, I think part of that is because Trump himself is a showman, and now he's surrounded himself with people. And I actually think Pam Bondi's a little lacking in that area. But like somebody like a Pete Hegseth, he's a good front man. You know, when he makes a video, he's former TV star, right? So or news anchor. So
when he went after the Fox News reporter, was it Catherine? Is it Catherine Herridge?
It's not Catherine Herridge. We made that mistake the other day. I can't remember her name now.
I remember
Jennifer, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Heard her name a million times, from these hits, but whatever. But he goes, when you're like, hey, former Fox News host going after Fox News for their coverage, he's equal opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you're part of this this crap here, this corporate news crap that's not really news, it's fake news, as Trump wants to call it. It's not very eloquent to call it fake news, but what it is it is essentially a reality show. That's essentially what it is.
Wow.
And he formally works there, so he's going after him. Okay, cool. That gives him, in my mind, even if I'm on the other side of the aisle, that gives me a lot of credibility to what he's saying there. Now, we know that the left is not going to give him that credibility, but in an objective world, if all things were being reasonable, it would.
Yeah. We are, I guess we're like 10 minutes into the show, so we're going to get to some of these tweets here now. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody out there, you need to follow at Paul Talk Show. Okay, so this is our new Twitter handle. So you can follow me at Real Paul Harrell. You can follow Rob Spencer at Rob Spencer 43. But we've also launched a new X platform just to kind of, I don't know, be kind of the home base, and it's at Paul Talk Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what it is?
That's right, at Paul Talk Show.
Okay, and so make sure you go do that. Also, feel free. You can watch the show on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook as well, and
TikTok.
We even have a TikTok.
We have
now,
a TikTok. Yes.
So it's official. China has. We've allowed the Chinese to infiltrate us.
There you go. But if you would support the show, we would really appreciate it, and hopefully we continue this every day.
That's exactly right. That's the goal. That is the goal. All right, so here we go. We're going to get to this first tweet. It's very interesting. Brett Weinstein's reaction here to Donald Trump's post on Truth Social, which left everybody with more questions than answers, honestly. Mm-hmm. Brett Weinstein says the owners of the Jeffrey Epstein video library are now negotiating with us through President Trump. These are living, breathing monsters willing to destroy children to override the will of the people. There are no higher priorities. Donald Trump, what's going on with my boys? In some cases, gals. I think the gals is the gals is maybe a nod to Laura Loomer, Megyn Kelly, and maybe even Laura Ingraham, who was at the Turning Point USA conference, and she had critical.
He loves Laura Ingraham.
Yeah,
he has a love-hate with Megyn Kelly.
Right.
And I don't. They say he loves Laura Loomer like very trusted, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? All right, so they're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration. The talk of the world and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. Pause. Some folks out there who like to read into everything Trump says, like more so than what's at face value, are claiming that's Trump secretly telling us that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive.
Okay, I don't buy that.
I don't either. I'm just letting you guys. We're trying to.
Yeah.
We're
covering all bases of the
potpourri,
conspiracies.
a potpourri of views.
A potpourri of it. Yes.
All right. So for years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with the Russia hoax, 51 intel agents, the laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton / Christopher Steele dossier that they used against me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands.
Hold up.
I know. That's what in the world, man? Like, that is what is he talking about?
He is suggesting, no, he's not suggesting, he's saying that the Epstein files were a figment of liberal imagination. That they didn't exist, that it wasn't talked about on the campaign trail, that Pam Bondi hasn't promised this big thing. None of that existed. It was a liberal creation. And now it's convincing his friends, people that he loves and trusts, it's convincing them that his administration, who has been perfect,
right?
His administration is being infiltrated, and it is being derailed when we are the talk of the world by a figment of the liberal media and liberal mindset imagination.
It's nuts.
I call bull bleep.
Yep. Maybe we should get one of those buttons.
I'm fired up today,
do it
Paul.
in real time.
It's Monday.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. First of all, when we say we want the Epstein list, we want the list of people who are committing crimes against children with Epstein, or who Epstein trafficked kids to. Like, that's what we're saying. So, is he saying that Obama, Clapper, Brennan, Hillary, all these people created some fake list and put him on it? Like, that was...
It's stupid. You know what he's doing.
Well, I think
saying, look over here.
I think your analysis is true, but I mean, it completely comes out of left field. So what we do have to be careful with is Trump does have a pattern of saying things that appear to come out of left field, and then 6 months later, that is true. I mean, when he
5D
said
chess that they
when he said in his first term that they bugged Trump Tower, that's true. that actually happened.
Yeah, and everybody else said he was crazy when he was saying.
So I'm just prefacing this with that. Like
maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll eat the crow.
Well, no, it is gaslighting. I mean, it is 100% gaslight. Let's go through the rest of it because it's not over. I'm just throwing that out there because I don't buy this either. I'm just trying to figure out like because in the next sentence when he says this is like the Steele dossier. He says, my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Okay. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? So now I'm really confused. Like, that totally contradicts my hypothesis of, is he saying that they changed the files? Well, now he's saying, well, why wouldn't they release them? Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about.
He's trying to absolve himself of, hey, if this could hurt the MAGA, meaning me or anybody in my close circle, right? Like if Stephen Miller is in the Epstein files here, right? Like, well, the Democrats would have released that. Nobody's disagreeing with that. Anybody with half a brain realizes that Trump never visited that island. That the sex trafficking to Trump, if there was a direct link from that the Democrats would have released that.
Yeah.
They threw everything else but except for the kitchen sink, and that would be the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Right? So none of us are saying that. What we're saying is that there are powerful people, whether they are celebrities, musicians, world leaders, other politicians, there are powerful people on his client list, not his contact list, not people that he associated with, not people that he went to lunch with to talk about business opportunities, people who were directly involved in sex trafficking children.
Yes.
They are on that list, and that list exists. You can't convince me otherwise. Okay? Unless I were to see all of it unredacted or whatever, and maybe I could be convinced to change my mind. But for my money, you can't convince me otherwise that client list doesn't exist. And we were told that it existed. Pam Bondi said it was on her desk. She can do the whataboutism at this point and say that she meant something else. Bull. Mm-hmm. She can say that all she wants to. Now, whether the Democrats had it and it was so dangerous to their side and so bad to their side that they gave a watered-down version, the Southern District of New York gave a watered-down version to the FBI, and now they're left with just kind of, picking up the pieces of this shattered rollout of all this information. Okay, fine. Maybe I could be convinced of that. But a client list existed. 100%, or why the hell else did he kill himself? Why is she in prison? The client list existed, and powerful people are on it, and quit with this complete distraction from all of this crap, trying to just rile up the MAGA base saying, oh, Clinton, Brennan, all of these people, Obama, whatever. Okay, I respect Trump, I support Trump and all this, but he's wrong on this. He's reading the room incorrectly, and he needs to get out ahead of this, and this is not it.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. All right, so he goes on. We got to get through this. This is just
sorry,
like
man.
no. I mean, it's like we've got a lot of stuff to get to.
I'm going to save my comments for the rest.
We've got a lot of stuff to get to here, but I mean, it's all related to this. Yeah. But it's just painful. It's absolutely painful. Let's see. They haven't given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. No matter how much success we've had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, and a safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons. It's never enough for some people. We are about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years, and we have so much more to do. We're saving our country. We're making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Again, the radical left inspired the documents on Jeffrey Epstein? That's insane. I mean, you arrested Jeffrey Epstein in your administration.
And when are we ever convinced that the radical left cares about child sex trafficking? They 100% do not.
You're exactly
They've
right.
proven that with their ridiculous border policies.
She says, let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she's looking into as AG and much more. Look, I hope that's all true.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. We're just pointing out that we may end up, not getting this issue right after all the fanfare and telling us that they were going to get the issue right. Seems like this other fruit is going to be poisoned. It's fruit of the poison tree, right? Is what
it's really hard to celebrate other victories.
It does, and it's going to be like an asterisk. And then he goes on. That's what she's looking to in AG. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now, honestly, it's been about a year since Trump was almost murdered in front of the world. So we do want to recognize that. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Somebody that nobody cares about, right? I'm really glad that he's like not a wizard that could just make that true. Yeah.
We're gaslighting big time.
Yeah.
Bull. You're wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. You are... Okay, somebody would say, Trump, read the room. And they say he is the most skilled person who has ever been president at reading the room.
Yep.
Okay? How Barack Obama incorrectly, during this last election, goes in front of a group of African-American men telling them, hey, man up, you're, whatever. And then you read that room incorrectly,
yes,
sir.
You did. Yes, you did.
100% did.
That.
Trump is a skilled master at reading the room. He's failing right now.
Yeah.
He's failing.
Well, I think that's why Brett Weinstein says the owners of the Jeffrey Epstein video are now negotiating with the American people through Trump, and he's citing. I mean, that's a potential explanation for what's going on here because this is absolutely crazy.
Is it the only thing that makes sense? Seems to me like that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Because Laura Trump is now going on the Benny Johnson show saying, no, Trump's going to figure a way to make this right.
It's damage control.
You know the term. Do you know where the term gaslight came from?
No.
There's a play called Gaslight. I think it's a play called Gaslight, and I think maybe Hitchcock even made it into a movie. But it's about a man who marries a wealthy woman under false pretenses, and then uses the gaslights in the house to make her go insane by lowering them, and then telling her that they're not.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
What do you mean?
That's where the term comes from, and so I don't know.
I mean, it's exactly what, and I'm not calling this a direct correlation, but I'm telling you this. It reminds me of an argument with my 14-year-old son about. Okay, here are the 5 reasons that I'm upset with you right now. You did this, then you did this. We're going through the 5 thing.
Yeah.
Right. And he will focus on. Let's go on this 5th thing. There was a slight scenario right there where I said that he said something, and it wasn't exactly what he said, even though the meaning was the same. I didn't
quite get it.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't dictate that conversation exactly correctly. That's what he focuses on. Well, what are you talking about, Dad? That's not what I said. And he argues about this. We're gonna take away the legitimacy of these other 4
because you made one little rhetorical mistake.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It's call it straw man, call it gaslighting, call it whatever. But that's what he does. And so you say, well, what about this and this and this? And he's like, like you're arguing. I'm arguing with a child, right? Because he's 14 years old and he's almost 6 foot tall. Now I'm 6'4", and he's skinny, right? So there's no physical whatever, but he wants to bow up at me if I'm whatever. That's what Trump's did. He was backed up in the corner, and this whole statement is him bowing up and saying, "Oh, but you don't know who I am." Right? And I feel that that's what it is. Maybe I'm completely wrong about it, but I can tell you this is not a good look.
No, I agree. Especially, I mean, if you go back and you look at how much this was an actual issue here. in the campaign leading up to all this. This is Donald Trump Jr. in June of 2024.
How is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why, right?
Why is the FBI?
And then, of course, we've got, Kash Patel. He goes
Even
on.
before that.
Before that. You can back it up to then there's this tweet. This was after Jeffrey. This was so Jeffrey Epstein's main squeeze, Ghislaine Maxwell. She gets sentenced, and then this interview happens.
I've spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me.
All the co-conspirators did to me. Donald Trump Jr. on July 8th of 2023, 2 years ago, said, show us all the Epstein client list now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags? Ask yourself this question daily, and the answer becomes very apparent. Okay?
Hold up. Let's just say that. Because she specifically said, Maxwell, Epstein, and all of the co-conspirators.
Yes.
So it's not, they're trying to tell us it's two people. That's what they're trying to tell us right now. It's only two people, Maxwell and Epstein. Bull. That's a victim right there. She was raped 3 times a day. You can say whether you believe her or not. But let's see some discovery. Let's see some evidence.
Yeah, I saw the deposition that's been going around, this old deposition of Epstein responding to the allegation that for his birthday, he was given 3 French girls, 3 12-year-old French girls that spoke no English. They were flown in for his birthday. They were abused, and they were sent home the next day. This is the commodity here. Like the commodity, I mean, it's the slavery here, right? And so this is not some abstract, like who sent the girls to Epstein, right? Who in France sent those girls to Epstein? If that's, in fact, what actually happened. Of course, it was just a question that was asked of him in a deposition, but it's not going to go away, folks.
I agree with you.
It's not going away.
You see people in the comments, and even comments under our live stream right now on X America News, streaming daily,
What are they saying? What are they saying?
Well, I mean, most people agree with us, but there are individuals who are like, he's not just saying, and I'm not trying to rip on this person. He's saying he's not just saying that that to forget it. He's just saying the time isn't right now, and it's distracting from all the wins. Okay, and he says, I'm confident the truth will come out.
I hope so. Okay. Boy, that would be great.
Wait a minute. He means he doesn't mean to forget it. The time isn't right, and everyone is taking away attention from the wins. When will the time be right? We are in control of all 3 chambers, right? Well, I mean, you've got
three branches.
3 branches. Thank you. So we're in. Well, I mean, aren't we in control of pretty much all three branches at this point? When you talk about the Supreme Court, all that stuff. But you've got the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch that are all conservative majority at this point. When is the time?
I don't know.
Ask yourself that, Ron, respectfully. When is the time,
No,
sir?
you actually bring up an interesting point. I hadn't thought about this. But, I mean, I saw a meme the other day about somebody said, I found the Epstein list, and it was just a photo of a joint session of Congress.
Yeah. Is that?
How many Republicans? Just honest question. How many Republicans right now? What's their majority?
It's basically a 3-vote majority, even though it's 5 seats or something in the House.
That's actually
3 in the Senate.
That's actually fascinating to think about. I wouldn't support that, but if for whatever reason the makeup of Congress now were to implicate more Republicans than Democrats, and then all of a sudden you've got a Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. I don't know. It just came. I mean, it was just a thought that popped into my head.
I'm going to tell you something right now. As soon as, I'm not saying if, I'm saying as soon as the Democrats take back control, we have no. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Right now, the Democrats are scorched earth. And even Mark Cuban, who came out and he was like a total Kamala Harris supporter and all of that stuff, is coming to his senses and saying, what platform does the Democratic Party have right now? They only have Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Okay? Well, history has proven that they're going to come back into power. And once they do, if they don't even have a platform other than Trump bad, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah.
You will be a lame duck for the last 2 years of your presidency, Mr. Trump, if you can't come out here and get us back on track with this accountability. Because right now, you're failing.
Yeah.
Your administration is.
But that is interesting, though, because there's, I've been saying that I think my initial knee-jerk reaction last week was, hey, if they don't fix this Epstein problem, then they could lose the House. They could lose the House, lose the Senate, and then Trump will be impeached over nonsense.
Okay.
And they may actually be able to do it. Who knows? And so I don't know, this other theory that I just came up with, that if they did release the list and more current serving Republicans are implicated, the Democrats and then he'll be impeached anyway. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. But to that listener's point, that is an interesting thing, that it's not time yet. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. If that were the case, Pam Bondi is the problem. And maybe Susie Walls and Trump told her to go out there and give some bogus binders. But I don't think that's the case. I think this was, by all accounts, this was her idea to do this, to do the binder and to get us to this point. And then the memo leaks to Axios of all places.
Listen to Liz, what's her name? Liz,
Cheney?
No. Gosh, do not listen to that crazy woman. No, Liz Wheeler.
Yes.
Who is now on she's part of the Glenn Beck network now, and she was on Megyn Kelly, her show last week. And Liz Wheeler was one of those conservative influencers at that time. She was a host on OWN, One America News Network, I believe. But anyway, she's phenomenal. I love following her. But anyway, she was on Megyn Kelly's show, and she was talking about how we were invited to the White House for a meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance. Right, and it was supposed to be a little bit of a rub, a little bit of dirt in the eye of the mainstream media, the corporate media. Right, we're bringing in the Liz Wheelers of the world, the Jack Posobics of the world, the Chad Prathers or Prothers of the world. Right, like we're bringing in these people who are independent journalists, independent media, and they are by far getting way more views than the mainstream media. So anyway, it was dirt in the eye. And then they were hustled in there, and Pam Bondi said, hey, I've got these binders, and she was bragging about the cover sheet.
Most transparent administration.
Yes, most transparent. Anyway, so she gives them the binders. Now, to Pam Bondi's credit, said, hey, now this is just phase one. Right, there's nothing new in these binders, but this is just to show you. It's like a sign of good faith that we are the most transparent administration ever, and more of this information is coming. Well, then through, I don't know if it was FOIA or whatever, but they found out that 6 days later, she's griping at the Southern District of New York saying, hey, I have incomplete files in your field office. Give me these files. So she was definitely out over her skis at that point, because she was promising 6 days earlier to these conservative influencers.
And she said, I was lied to.
Yes, she's saying she didn't have it. Now, she's got a couple of options. Number one is resign. Number two, come out and say, here's what happened, okay? Instead of this crap
Face
where
the cameras.
She keeps saying, over 10,000 hours and victims of which will never be released. She keeps saying never, like she punches it, right?
And that's a straw man argument.
Yeah,
that's a straw man argument, because I'm not nobody wants to see that. That's not what we're asking for, Bondi. We want to know who Epstein trafficked kids to. That's what we want to know. It's very simple.
Right. Who was he trafficking to? And why are these people, number one, if they're still in office, why are they not out of office? And at the very least, even if there's no evidence or the statute of limitations, I don't know how all that works. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a law enforcement agent. But if the statute of limitations are gone, then those people that are in that person's district, say if it's a United States senator, right? Here, let's go with Arkansas. If one of our 2 senators, which I am not saying that, but I'm just trying to give an example, are on that Epstein list, the voters of Arkansas need to know that.
100%.
Okay,
yeah.
Right? And so that person can be voted out of office if they're a sick pedophile. Okay? Now, is that what's going to happen? We can sit here and say, is Trump going to buckle to the push of all of this stuff? Is he going to buckle? I don't see that happening, but I can tell you right now that if Pam Bondi, and I even tweeted this, if Trump were to move on from Pam Bondi and then they allow Kash Patel or maybe Dan Bongino to come out and say, hey, we thought maybe we had more than what we had. We feel like people are keeping some information and we're going to get to the bottom of it or whatever. But right now, based off of what we have, there's no there. Okay. And Pam Bondi, for saying that there was a there, she's going to have to go.
Yeah.
And then all of this goes away. Boom. Now we're talking about MAGA's wins.
That's a good point. I think you may be right there. I think you're not going to get Pam Bondi to resign at this point. Trump's already said that she's doing great work, but maybe if you give her a tiara, maybe she'd resign.
Well, maybe, but I can tell you this: that long post that we just read through that took half the show. I can tell you that I'm very much a college sports fan. A sports fan regardless. That is the dreaded vote of confidence. Okay? I believe that's the dreaded vote of confidence. The dreaded vote of confidence, say if you're talking about in college football, if you've got an embattled college football coach, they finished under 500 the year before, and they're not starting off this season so great. And the people, the boosters, the fans, everybody's calling for the head. Don't read the message boards because it's brutal, right? It's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And then the athletic director comes out and says, I have the fullest confidence in coach such and such, right? And he has my full support, and he's da-da-da-da. And then 2 weeks later, he's fired. Because that's the dreaded vote of confidence. That's the
point.
Last step before he gets fired. So here's hoping, if you want Pam Bondi to be gone and her sensationalism, I love Matt Gaetz. I think Matt Gaetz would be a cannonball in that position or whatever. But I think a no-name attorney general who is a hammer behind the scenes is probably what we need.
You miss one step in the whole college football.
Let's hear it.
You're going to, at some point, if it's in the South, during one of the games, you're going to have like a crop duster with a sign circling saying fire, fire so and so.
If the flyover happens, you're screwed, man. You got no chance. You're gone. You might as well put your house on the market. You better call me as your realtor.
That's fantastic. That's great. That's great stuff. All right, a little bit more from the Turning Point event. This was more about this. We've got Megyn Kelly.
I keep quoting Megyn Kelly about this stuff because I listen to her just about every day, and I can tell you I completely agree with her on this.
Yeah,
this is what she's right.
This is what she said.
Nothing's going on. Has anyone been on X in the past hour?
This was during the groundswell. This is when we thought that she was actually going to go any second. She was going to get fired any second.
Why, they haven't been on social media.
We'll update you.
Why don't you update them, Megyn?
Well, this is the first big scandal, I'd say, of the Trump administration that's on Team Rational. It's not a fake media scandal like the left tries to create for President Trump every other day. It's one of the right's own making, and it's not going well. And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Yeah.
Young people that want to know why DC runs on blackmail.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares. I think
a lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
Here's what I think is happening. I don't think President Trump is focused on this. He's focused on a lot of other things which are going great, and he needs to be focused on those other things. Jeffrey Epstein's not the most important thing on his agenda by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's crushing it on the tariffs, foreign policy, just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If not Trump, then who? Honestly.
Yeah, he should
Barack
win it.
Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize after 9 months in office. He had done nothing. He gave a nice speech about Muslims, and they gave it to him. So President Trump should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and there's all sorts of things he's focused on. I just don't think this has captured his attention quite yet. But it needs to, because it's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Pam Bondi. I'll tell you why.
Mixed reaction.
Okay? I have nothing, yes, incompetence, yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with
Pam Bondi. I want to get back to this in a minute. Have you seen The Dark Knight?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the scene where all the mob bosses are together and they've got the Chinese guy on the TV and he's saying, I'm going to give your money. And the Joker looks at the guy and says, this guy's going to talk. Like, this guy's going to squeal. Like, there's just something. When Pam Bondi goes on Fox News to reassure us that, we're getting these criminals off the streets or whatever, that's the feeling that I get.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that the FBI hasn't arrested a bunch of pedophiles. They have. And,
they have.
And they've busted them.
Our Border Patrol has been incredible.
But just her as the front man, before any of this ever happened, I've always been like the Joker at the end of the table, like looking at him, just like, I don't know. There's just something about Pam Bondi that doesn't give me confidence that she is competent.
You look at the statistics of the number of sex traffickers and the number of children saved from sex trafficking in the last 6 months by our ICE and Border Patrol, and in collaboration with our FBI, and you're like, wow, those are incredible wins that Pam Bondi had nothing to do with.
Yeah,
let's be honest, right? I mean, I understand that she's with the Department of Justice there and all of that stuff, but that's Tom Homan, right? That's Kash Patel. This is not Pam Bondi, and I think that she should be the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, well,
as she should be.
Yeah. Did you hear, on a slightly different note about the border, did you hear that the reported border crossings for the month of June was 0?
I had not heard that. No.
0 border crossings for the month of June.
For what, like what area, or just overall?
They said in terms of, I guess, people they caught. I don't know. 0 border crossings. I don't know. That's a good question, because I need to know exactly what it is.
Because a lot of times it's like based on an area. But I did see this one that was there were 50,000 in the highest month of Biden's presidency. There were 50,000 that crossed at that one particular spot, and I can't remember what the spot was. Which is over several miles. So it wasn't just like one gate that was open. But anyway, 50,000. And for the exact same time period, 9 had crossed through there.
Wow.
Under Trump.
So the White House said on June 17th, Border Patrol didn't release a single illegal into the U.S. last month. So that would have been for the month of May.
Wow.
I found that piece. But anyway, it's a big deal. I say all that to say it's a pretty big deal. So, all right, back to. I just want to finish up with this Megyn Kelly clip here, and here it is.
with her nomination and her confirmation, and she's been loyal to the president, and I get that President Trump needs a loyal attorney general. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about. It's also true that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI. But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing. They've kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story. Who have you seen? Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi.
She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way. Try to lead you to believe that she's got it. It's on her desk. It's coming tomorrow. You're going to see something on Epstein. And it was a tease.
Pam Bondi. We could make saying Pam Bondi's name the way they do Matt Damon. In Team America.
So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then, or that she's telling the truth now. But both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no.
No.
She went to someone she knew would not kick the tires on the story, and without signing the memo, dropped it in the dead of night and said, that's it. Take the crumbs and be happy. Refused to come out and give a presser come out and give a press conference, stand there for 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest. But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo and whose name did and did not go on it and who was and was not behind it. And so now you have a situation where her words on the record on Fox News are diametrically opposed to what she put in this memo. She's embarrassed the president. She's embarrassed herself. And Dan and Cash, to the extent they've had to sign off on that, let's understand the FBI is controlled by the DOJ. FBI is subservient to DOJ. She's their boss. That they're in this position where the only comments they've made on the record as administration officials have been, we don't think he killed himself, and we don't think he got murdered. We think he did kill himself. We've looked at the tapes, and Cash to Joe Rogan saying, if I saw all these tapes of Jeffrey Epstein with little girls, trust me, I would show you. But I haven't seen it. Okay, so what they're saying now is consistent with what they've said since they joined the office, and that is one of the many reasons why this scandal is squarely on her. And I'm telling you, I'm of the cable news universe. I've seen it happen a million times. People get thirsty. They love to see themselves on television. They love to see their names in the Klieg lights. They love the attention. They love the little emails and texts and tweets and thumbs up they get after their appearance, and they can feel their star rising. And listen, internally, I'm told there's a bit of like a power struggle between Pam Bondi and another female administration official on who's going to be the top dog. You know, we've got
Susie Wiles.
A great
No, that would have to be Border Barbie. You know, former governor of South Dakota. Why can't I think of her name?
Kristi Noem.
Yeah, Kristi Noem. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you know, when she dolls herself up and then she puts on the FBI like bulletproof vest or whatever, and then makes a video.
Riding horse.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Like I she may be doing a great job.
Yeah.
But that's also like totally unnecessary publicity. I get you have political ambitions after your tenure as the DHS secretary. We all get it, but it's just a little too much. Like it's like arrest me, Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
Like what's the deal here?
Well, and honestly, from everything that I've seen from Pam Bondi and everything that I've seen from Kristi Noem, like I feel like they're in the same vein in that we like the attention kind of thing. But at least for me, Kristi Noem ran one of the most successful states. I mean, if not the most successful state during COVID.
And look at the results. Look at the border results. Versus
it's hard to argue with that
versus what we're dealing with at the DOJ.
Well, and Dan Bongino, and I believe, don't like slaughter me in the comments, folks, but I believe that Dan Bongino has gone on Fox since this. And he was talking about all of the stuff that's going to come out with Brennan and
Crossfire Hurricane,
Comey, and all of that stuff. And he's just like, and just wait until this stuff comes out. And I didn't like my feeling, Paul. I was feeling the exact same way as Pam Bondi when all of this stuff is, bombshells are coming or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like, if there's anybody that I trust in media and now in the government is Dan Bongino, and I'm as a loyalist, right? At least loyal conservative. I didn't like the fact that I was questioning someone who I had complete trust in, and it's because of Pam Bondi that I'm now questioning Dan Bongino.
You're exactly right. If I were president of the United States, which I'm not. But if I were president, the rule would be quit talking about what's about to happen. Stop it. Just end it. We're either going to arrest people, and then we will talk about it after the arrest.
Fact,
like when we start seeing but just quit it. Stop it. We're like get rid of all these Fox News hits about what we're about to do, what we're about to, just like with this John Solomon report that I can't get excited about. Had this Epstein thing not happened, I'd be excited about this John Solomon report talking about an overarching conspiracy, wrapping all of them up, and that there's intel that still needs to be declassed on that's really going to implicate all of them. I'd be stoked about it. But now that this has happened, I would cut it off and be like, we will talk about it after their arrest. We'll talk about what led up to it. But it's just got to stop. It's too much hopium.
I think I think a media blackout would be sufficient right now, other than Caroline Leavitt and then Trump at the helicopter as he's getting on there, and because I think that's those are the truth. I don't think that we're always getting the truth from Caroline Leavitt. We're getting, not that she's particularly lying. It's just that that it's going to be spun.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's her job.
That's her job.
Right.
Exactly right. She's not doing anything wrong. And
let Fox News play those clips, and
correct.
Fox News will freak out though. Like if that were to actually happen, they would freak out if they didn't have access to these guys.
But I also think that those moments right before we're getting into the helicopter with Trump are
great.
some of the most real moments. That's when he just said they don't know what the F they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. He would never say that standing on the podium in front of for a press conference. Right. So I think that those moments, but just for a few weeks.
Yep.
Allow that to happen for a few weeks, and then why have we had so many Fox News hits from Pam Bondi? And it was Megyn Kelly, and I don't think she does it in this clip, maybe on her show, when she was talking about why is the Attorney General one of the most heard from voices.
Yep.
With 0 arrests. Mm-hmm. Now we're arresting criminals, we're arresting all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, but no high profile. Yeah, we're getting illegal immigrants, the people that threw rocks during the LA riots or whatever. Right. Allegedly, they're investigating who's funding it, funding all that stuff. All that's great, but like in terms of high profile arrests, you're right. She's got nothing.
Let me hear from Tom Homan. He's doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's on there, Fox News and all these shows all the time.
Yeah.
But it's warranted in my opinion.
So so in order to, I think I'm going to point this out. There's been a few stories that I think broke over the weekend because the administration's desperate to make Pam Bondi look good, or Pam Bondi's determined to make herself look
good.
So Attorney General Pam Bondi dismisses charges against Dr. Kirk Moore, who faced years in prison after destroying COVID vaccine vials, giving his own patients vax cards who were not vaccinated, and giving children saline instead of the vax at the parents' request who wanted to avoid the side effects, but they also needed it. Dr. Moore gave his patients a choice when the federal government refused to do so. He did not deserve the years in prison he was facing. It ends today. So they're doing stories like this. They're doing stories like she fired 20 DOJ employees who work against the J6ers and stuff like that. All that's great. People have been saying, how come this didn't happen 6 months ago? Which is a valid point. Okay, but I do want to park here just for a second because I think this is interesting. Can you imagine if you're Dr. Kirk Moore and I just use this the way the Lord is sovereign over the affairs of men. I said this earlier on Millstone, but to me, if you're Dr. Kirk Moore, you are really happy. Maybe not that there's not accountability for Epstein-related pedophiles, but you're probably pretty humbled to think that the Lord orchestrated your release based on the bad press that Pam Bondi has been getting in a week's time.
Right.
It results in them dropping the charges on you. I mean, that would be if you were Dr. Kirk Moore, he'd be like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I'm kind of glad she had a really no good, terrible week.
And it's interesting to me, that case, if you look at that case, and he was giving, essentially he was giving fake vaccine cards. Now, these individuals received something, but they're just getting saline, so they're a little bit more hydrated, I guess, after that point, right?
But he destroyed vaccines as well, right?
Right, because he was marking it that you got this vial, whatever. And so everybody's like, oh, he deserves prison for that or whatever. But he wasn't doing that to people who didn't want that, right?
It was by request.
It's not like a placebo pill in a test study from people who really wanted the drug and were hoping that they would get the drug and get cured versus the placebo. So he was. And so us in a red state who you didn't have to show a vaccine card.
That's right.
It was, now we had masks there for a little while, but we were one of the first ones to kind of get rid of that, right?
Yep.
And so in what state was it New Jersey? Or?
And I will say Arkansas's governor at the time was Asa Hutchinson, and he took liberties. The legislature then went down there the next chance they could, and they made sure that what happened, that what Asa did do, will never happen again.
Right.
And Sarah Huckabee Sanders was a big part of that as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those who are listening and are not familiar with Arkansas politics, we had Asa Hutchinson, which was a big name, and he ran for president, which was ridiculous. Like
his campaign was ended by Tucker Carlson in the most fantastic way possible. In that interview, it was great. It was
not
amazing.
as bad as Mike Pence, who literally got murdered.
That was there as well. That was there. Yeah.
But it was that same. Tucker Carlson was literally ending campaigns right there. But Asa Hutchinson did some good things for Arkansas. I will say that did some really good things for Arkansas. In that, we had conservative leadership versus, at the past, everybody thinks of Arkansas. Maybe most people think of Arkansas as a red state, but it hasn't been that way always. We had Mike Beebe, who was a decent governor, but he's a Democrat, and that was in the 2000s, like the mid 2000s, right? I can't remember his exact year.
Yeah, I mean, Asa got in there in 2014, so Beebe was the governor up until 2014.
So in 2013, folks, we had a Democrat governor here in the state of Arkansas. Now, statewide, we were still more of a red state because Beebe was very, very centrist.
Beebe was like the last. He was a great politician.
Yeah.
There's no way around saying that. Like, everybody loved him, even if they disagreed with him.
Sure.
They really liked him.
Yeah, because he was not inflammatory with his. I mean, he said some stuff. It's been 12 years ago, 13. I don't remember exactly everything, but I just remember thinking, okay, he's very middle of the line with all of this stuff. And I met him at an Arkansas State football game one time. But anyway, he's a skilled politician. And he was the last that I would consider of Arkansas Democrats who were like the Democrats were when you and I were still a Democrat. For anybody that's just tuning in, Paul and I both used to be Democrats. We voted
in college.
Yeah. I held on to it a little longer than Paul did. I actually voted for Barack Obama during his first term. But I want you to listen to.
I was 1 year out of college when that happened. So
listen to Barack Obama in 2008 versus Barack Obama in 2015.
I mean, he was against gay marriage.
Yeah,
at first.
And then he just totally changed. But the biggest thing was the illegal immigration. All this stuff. Anyway, I've now dovetailed into all this other stuff, other than to say that Asa Hutchinson was a center right. Like we were anti-transing kids here in the state of Arkansas.
But Asa wasn't. He was. Did he veto? Like, there was a law. Yeah,
and he vetoed
there were
it,
several
right?
of them. But yeah, it was absolutely insane. Like, honestly, to the point where, like, now that the country has rejected that, like, if you actually go back only a few years ago, it is incredible to me that he wanted a board. I guess some people speculate he, just wanted a board seat on Walmart, and Walmart was going in that direction as well. Just like Target and all rest of them. I don't know, but I'm saying I covered Asa Hutchinson for almost his entire term in office, and I was arguably his most vocal critic. This man, in my opinion, was not good at all.
Yeah.
I can make the argument that we would have been better off because we had a supermajority Republican legislature, and it's very easy to override a veto with a simple majority. We would have been better off with a Democrat governor in Arkansas because the legislature was supermajority Republican, and we could have passed whatever we wanted to.
Yeah, because if you're a Republican supermajority, right? So you're controlling all the houses, and you were veto proof. You're still doing some political work there to get the governor on your side about stuff, and the governor still has some power versus having a huge supermajority in the House and the Senate, the state House and Senate, but you've got a Democratic governor. You're not really paying attention to that Democratic governor. Yeah. You don't care. You're going to pass your stuff, and if he vetoes it, you're going to override his veto.
It was so bad, man. I mean, I'll just give you on the social issues. Like, this is the biggest improvement from Asa to Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas, in my opinion, is now social issues are. She's with the base for the most part on the social issues where Asa would just not go there. It's like Asa was afraid that, like, if he passed some law against transing kids or whatever the prevailing cultural thing was, wokeism or whatever, that he didn't want to suffer awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of his life because he may have a family member that disagrees with what he did. Like, that was, in my opinion, his guiding force, and I'm being very uncharitable here about that, and I understand it. But like, I'll give you an example. In his first term in 2015, so January 2015, he takes office. It gets elected in November 2014, and there's this Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It was the exact same. It mirrored the exact same thing that Al Gore and Bill Clinton signed at the federal level in like 1992, and it was just there to protect. At the time, you had the baker's shop, you had the bakery, the florists who were saying,
I'm not doing stuff for
I
gay
don't want to do the
weddings
day wedding. I'm a Christian. I can't do it. I can't affirm this. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And they're taken to court. So this was just what was passed in the mid 90s federally. We're trying to do it here. It gets all the way through the committee, all the committee process. It's ready to be signed, and basically Walmart called, corporations called, and they tanked the bill. Yeah, and they then went and amended it. And they amended it here and there, whatever, and it was told to me, it was spun to me, it's like, well, we had a Rolls Royce, now we have a Cadillac. It's still a good bill. But it was all saving face, and that happened all throughout his administration. All throughout his administration was about avoiding these tough social issues that I think the people were actually sending their legislators down there to deal with. He didn't want to do it.
The state of Arkansas was absolutely overwhelmingly against transing children.
And calling it health care.
Okay, quit giving puberty blockers to 10-year-old boys so that, their chemical makeup is being changed. Yeah. Especially when you consider as much as 86% of all adults who identified as trans as children grow out of it when they get older. Or if they don't grow out of it, they had regrets about having so much surgery or whatever when they were much younger. Asa, you want to talk about Trump not reading the room, Asa did not read the room, and it could be that Walmart effect. For those listeners that do not realize, the state of Arkansas is the home, Northwest Arkansas is the home of Walmart. Billionaire
Wally
Walton.
World.
Yes, the Walton family. It's the home of Tyson Chicken. It's the home of J.B. Hunt. There's a lot of money here in Arkansas, even though it being a small state, and influential money. And I believe that it made a lot more sense that the Walton family had, because they are leftists.
I know. You look at that Chrissy Walton during those protests, No Kings protests.
Yeah, she was.
Walmart had to put out a statement saying that's not us.
She doesn't speak for us, even though she's a Walton.
But put out an ad in the New York Times saying turn out for that. So. We're not breaking any news here saying that. We've gone over our time today, Rob.
We didn't get to half of our topics, but I'm going to tell you something. This is a drumbeat that is not going to stop beating. It's just a drumbeat, and I think that Trump's response was the incorrect response, and I think he's going to have to address this again.
Yep.
I don't know what he'll do.
I don't know either. We didn't even get to Laura Trump's comments, but anyway, she's essentially saying something that he knows what's going on with the base. He's going to figure it out. Tomorrow on the program, I want to spend some time talking about this. Speaking of our home state of Arkansas, we've got a father that stood up for his 12-year-old girl from being sexually assaulted and
by a 60-something-year-old
and basically groomed her, got her to come out of the house, and anyway, he found her, and then he shot the guy dead. There was a gag order put on by the judge in the case because they're prosecuting this guy for some strange reason. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow. The Supreme Court of Arkansas has now overturned the gag order, and now we have more information about what's actually going on in this case.
And his trial starts in September.
Yep.
And this is relevant to the entire United States because we have so many sexual predators out there, and we are Arkansas, we don't really have the stand your ground law that they have in Florida. But
I think we do.
We do, but it's just it's a lot more. You can kill anybody in Florida.
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit crazy. But in Arkansas, we're very much a Second Amendment state. This dude was trying to save his. I think she's 14. I can't remember.
We need to reach out honestly to Arkansas gun owners and get somebody on there from there. Arkansas gun. I think they'd be really good at that.
Okay.
But all right, that's all the time that we have for this edition. Rob, thank you, co-host Rob Spencer. We really appreciate it. Folks, I'll be on the air tomorrow, noon Central for Millstone Report, and we'll be back here tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central, all on X America News. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it.